Hello everyone, Jamie Starr here. Tonight we are talking about Iron Fist, the White Savior controversy, creator and star's response to the backlash. And I've watched the show. It's alright. So the site Nerds of Color announced this thing where they wanted a Asian American actor to play before they even seen the show, they wanted him as Iron Fist. And at first, I got into arguments with people from this website. My fucking Twitter is filled with fucking arguments about it. And, it's obnoxious because at first I thought, because I was saying how, I really like anime and all the Japanese culture and stuff, but when they have to come and appropriate comic book culture, I look at it as, a conceding lack of creativity, and people really took offense to that. Right here. Wow, this guy's accusing Asian Americans who wish Iron Fist were Asian of appropriating American culture. Yes, you're trying to appropriate a Marvel comic book character, a show about a white guy martial artist. So in some of these people's heads, martial artist, Asian. They want enforced stereotypes. You can't win with these people. This is the obvious that there's no heads or tails to it, because they will fight against cultural appropriation, which is what they're saying. Oh, well, having a white guy who knows martial arts, that's cultural appropriation. So we need it to be an Asian guy. Meanwhile, if they rolled out a token Asian guy doing kung fu, well, that's a stereotype. You're reinforcing a stereotype. I mean, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. See, I was born clueless, and Marvel Comics is my culture, created for Americans by Americans. We're glad you enjoy it too. But seriously, was I born clueless? Oh, maybe Marvel didn't come from America. There's also this thing where this one writer from one of these magazines, and I blocked a handful of these people. Black people have no... More petty than saying actually to someone who disagrees that black people have no culture. I don't even know what that guy's talking about. Doesn't matter. All these people are morons. I don't know why I engage with them. I'll tell you, I realize John Proby is right. There's no heads or tails to him. So, and then the one guy, so he's saying, I don't know why you think I'm Asian. And I said, well, in your Twitter bio, it says Asian American. So, right there. And he goes, oh, so you don't think Asians can be American? And of course that got retweeted. This guy doesn't think Asians can be American. Why? Why do you think I thought that? Because someone asked why I thought they were Asian, and I said, your profile says Asian American, therefore, and I said, you're Asian and American. I'm not saying it's one or the other. You're both. So... but of course, then it turns into this, because they can immediately spin it into their warped identity politics. Finn Jones white-splains Iron Fist. This is so condescending. I wish all these people were just fucking sent off to an island, because they'd kill each other. They would, because they can't get along with anyone. Same thing, geeks of color, blah, 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 blah. So, see, here's someone say representation is important, and here's why. So even when this guy's saying, representation is good, we need diversity and things, spouting the leftist virtue points, they attack. Finn's message is to be condemned. Diversity is bad, if a white guy is saying it. Commended, my bad. But, just going on saying how it should have been an Asian guy being Iron Fist. And if you were to watch the show, you'd realize how much it wouldn't make sense. And then how it would just sort of all come across this complete cliche tokenism, not making any sense. The outrage over it explained. This guy left Twitter. Here's a funny one. This popped up today. And even this chick, the chick who plays the Asian girl role, she defended it, and she came out, if anyone understands it, it's me. I faced it in my career. I've been working 8 years, and I've experienced it firsthand, the disparity when it comes to representation, even more than that, Asian misrepresentation. But I've also seen what Finn's done with this role, and honestly, I don't think I think he smashes it out of the park. She's also said it's the show isn't about Asian culture; it's about Danny Rand, and the fact that he knows martial arts is one aspect of his personality, but a lot of it is based on him as a white kid, the company, and like Asia, there's not an Asian American backdrop. All of these people, what they were imagining is not what they got. So it wouldn't make sense in the show itself. It's New York. The backdrop is New York. The backdrop is Hell's Kitchen. I tried to explain this to people, and eventually we got to the real point. This one has it, the Iron Fist white savior controversy. See, that's the problem. Colleen Wing doesn't fix Iron Fist's representation problem. It might make it worse. And here they're basically saying she's cliche. Now, it's funny because it says, well, first of all, let me say, the white savior thing, yes, it's basically white guys can't be heroes. They can only be villains. We need minorities as the heroes. It's basically we can't have an educated Negro because then other Negroes will want to be educated. You know, we can only display this one race in this certain type of role. It's racism, start to finish. So Iron Fist adds to it by making Colleen Wing a stand-in for all Asian Americans. As the season progresses, this sadly advances false narratives that Asians are foreigners. And most basic, who thinks about this stuff? Who thinks about whether someone is born here or not born here, or if they identify as Asian or Asian American, or that's a racist way of thinking, to constantly be trying to divide people on these arbitrary identity points. How do they not realize they are the racist? And its most basic, Iron Fist is about a rich white man, Danny Rand, who's trained by monks in mixed martial arts and becomes their greatest warrior. Colleen is the show's most predominant supporting character, a badass Asian fighter who is more than her own in battle, arguably the best part. Colleen is the first Asian American character introduced in Iron Fist as she meets Danny in the park, putting up flyers. He starts speaking to her in Mandarin. She answers briefly before informing him that she hasn't spoken the language in years and feels more comfortable speaking English or Japanese. Much to Danny's disappointment, Danny's logic that Colleen must speak Mandarin is a classic example of the stereotype that Asians are all foreigners, one that Iron Fist continually enforces. Ready for this? The interaction also sets up a troubling power dynamic between Danny and Colleen, in which Danny is shown as more knowledgeable about Colleen's own culture. You catch this, right? They're mad that she is somehow being portrayed as a foreigner, but yet also mad that she knows nothing about the culture. Well, it's because she's not being portrayed as a foreigner. She's being portrayed as someone who grew up in America, and that is why she wouldn't know about that culture, because that's not her culture. Her culture is Asian American. It's not Kung Lung. Kung Lung isn't even a real place with these monks. Danny was born and raised there. Of course he would know more about it. He spent more time in the culture. It makes complete sense. But it's all problematic. Everything that would make sense is problematic. And it only serves to advance the series' white savior narrative. Yet, she's the one saving his ass all the time. It's always Asian people supporting this guy and holding him together and enlightening him and showing... I mean, it's... You know, for the most part, he's a hot mess during the show, and you almost get the feeling that the Asians are his savior. They were the ones that saved him when the plane crashed. When he comes to the city, she saves him over and over. There's more Asian savior stuff going on than him. And then there's, of course, this, which one of them posted as, you know, a sort of joke, but it throws the joke right in their face. Some of this is as silly as them saying we should have an Asian colonial hero. Oh, and this is the person right there. He's one of the ones on Twitter that was cursing me out. Yeah, they don't get it. They don't understand it. So, it's like, oh, okay, we should introduce Colonial Man. Not only has Ye Fei mastered the mystical ways of the white man, he does it even better than the treacherous Occidentals. This is what they want, though. They want an Asian American Spider-Man, or Hulk, or, Mexican Spider-Man, and, diversify the cast. It doesn't matter the backstory. It doesn't matter anything. It's swap them in there. They argue for this. They're not arguing against it, but yet they put it forth as if it's a joke. Anyway, this filmmaker, if you look, I saw Netflix. I was bothered by it, so I made my own thing, because there's no Asian American superheroes. I've just ignored this entire list of Asian American superheroes, broken down by which country they are from. A quick Google search could have shown you all of this, not to mention all of the other cool Asian American characters in video games like Ryu and Chun-Li and Scorpion and Sub-Zero and the Final Fantasy people and all the people in this Buddhist mythology and Chinese mythology and Hindu mythology and Indonesian mythology and Indo-Iranian and Islamic, Japanese, Korean, Filipino. There's so many heroes, so many characters, top 10 best list. I don't know where you've been at. I don't know where you've been. Lots of them. Lots and lots of them. There's my personal favorite, Jubilee. Lots of them. Some of them newer. She's a new one. Batgirl. She was Asian at some point. I didn't know that. But see, some of this, like 2004, this is when they were just sort of naturally doing it, Sort of like someone takes up the mantle. It just happens to be an Asian person. It's worked into the storyline. Talia al Ghul, or, there's always been Asian characters, but now what they want, they want the policy or practice of making only a symbolic effort as to desegregate. So when you go and say, here's a female Thor, here's an Asian Hulk, here's a black Captain America, here's a Mexican Spider-Man, look, we just desegregated Marvel Comics, we just threw fucking ethnic faces on everything. That's tokenism. And that's all this is. Tokenism, destroying comic culture. SJW's just coming in and shuffling the deck. So, Iron Fist, check out the show. It's alright. It was alright. He's a hot mess for the whole first season. I guess they gotta do that, similar to Daredevil. But hopefully, they'll set up good for the Defenders. And, yeah, have a good one, everyone.